What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a vintage Star Wars market update. We're going to focus not only on loose graded figures, but the people have spoken and they have requested that I cover more sales of loose Star Wars figures that are ungraded. So that's what I did. I included a number of different items in here, loose graded as well as loose ungraded. And I think that you'll find the data points pretty interesting. We've got some amazing and fairly rare figures that sold this past weekend. Before I dig in any further, I've got a couple of housekeeping notes. First, we've got a channel giveaway, a new channel giveaway. This is courtesy of Robert W., longtime friend of the channel. He gave me a Dulak Shaman Ewoks coin. And so here it is, along with a case, along with a little easel to set it up. So you can just display this on your shelf full of goodies. So the same rules as always apply. You must be a subscriber. Don't forget to be a subscriber. All you got to do is like this video and then comment below. You can say whatever you want to. You can even insult me. It's okay. You'll still be entered to win. And we'll let it run for a little while. Anyone in the world is eligible. I'll ship it anywhere. And so really nice. Thank you again, Robert, for the awesome Ewoks series Dulak Shaman coin. And we'll give that away. I've got a number of awesome giveaways. I've got some of the Tartakovsky Clone Wars figures, a bunch of other stuff. So I'll do my best here to get those rolling better. I've been so busy with work. So that's one. Number two, I want to say thank you to my latest Patreon supporter, Carrie Neuenhuis. I'm sure I'm completely mangling your name. I apologize, but thank you for becoming my latest Patreon supporter. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Let's dig right in. I've got a number of awesome items here. This was a really interesting auction. This was an AFA loose lot of the original 12 figures, but only half of them, so 6. So you had all the heroes. You got Luke, Leia, R2-D2, Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Obi-Wan. So all the heroes. Now, I've got some really interesting points on this, and this is one that will be terrifying to any of you collectors of loose graded figures. This was graded 85 by AFA, a Luke Farm Boy. Look how much that torso has yellowed since grading. That's the most I've ever seen a figure post grading have yellowing. That is just amazing to me. I don't know what happened there, whether it was sitting in direct sunlight or what. It was not an archival case. An archival case means that it has 99.9% UV protection, or it should. That's what it's advertised as. And you'll see a little silver sticker next to the AFA words on the label that say archival or archive. And so that means that's the best case that they make. These standard cases are only about 60 to 70% UV resistant. So keep that in mind if you got some of these figures. And I know I've got a few. I try to keep my collection room a sunless, dungeonous warren, because I'm terrified of this happening right here, where the torso yellows. So that's that. But you know, the rest of the figures were pretty nice. This Leia also looks like it might have a little bit of slight torso discoloration. So that one was an AFA 85. The R2-D2 looked to be pretty good though. That was an 80 plus. The Han was in good shape. That was an 80 plus. Chewbacca, the bowcaster, had come loose inside, and that was a U85. And then the Obi-Wan was graded 85. That looked to be in good shape, new case style. So, you know, the final sales price of $979 is deceiving because you had problems with 3 of the 6 figures, right? You had a torso discolored on the Luke, slight torso discoloration on the Leia, and then the Chewbacca, the accessory had come loose. So 3 of the 6 were kind of jacked up, right? They probably need to be recased or regraded. So the final sales price of $979 is low. Keep that in mind. But I still think, it's not a terrible deal. It's not a terrible deal. It's probably about right for market the more I look at it. So just an interesting sale that tells a big story that I think is worth talking about. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the Jawas. This was a lot of 3 Jawas, no weapons, no Jawa blasters. One of the hoods was the small hood. So I think this is a nice comparison because we haven't talked about the Jawa in a first 12 figure focus yet, but this is kind of like a sneak peek as to something you want to look at. And so the Jawa hoods oftentimes came either large hoods, regular hoods, or small hoods. And so these look like, this one might be a larger hood. This is definitely the small hood. And this one is either a large or a normal size hood. So much variation with the Jawa, and quite honestly, that's why probably I've been terrified to even cover them in a figure focus, just because there's so many different variants for the robe, for the stitching, and for the figure. But anyway, that lot of 3 without the weapons sold for $120. So that's interesting there. Now here was a loose graded one. Collectibles Investment Brokerage. They are affiliated with AFA. They had some insanely hot figures. This one was a smooth cape Jawa. It looked to be the small hood, but it wasn't labeled as such. It was just labeled as the the smooth cape no COO Jawa. These usually appeared on Palatoid card backs. That one was an AFA 85. It sold for $267. And here's another. We're going to talk about this loose lot of farm boys here. I had a number of you message me about this, and a few of you actually bid on this, and we were trying to figure out about this Luke. So these are a lot of 2 Lukes. One of them was a dark brown haired Luke, which is very desirable. It's like the chocolate brown haired Luke farm boy. Very, very rare, very desirable. That one is the Hong Kong. To my knowledge, these are only Hong Kong figures, these dark brown. And I think that they only came on ESB card backs. But you guys who are experts can correct me. Now, this is the one that we were asking about. You know, it was advertised as an orange hair. That's not the orange hair. Not the orange haired Luke. Too dark. It's more like a ginger hair, so it's probably a degraded Luke. And, you know, given the yellowing on the limbs and the paint on the hands, this has got to be some sort of degradation to a brown-haired Luke, is my guess. A light brown-haired Luke. I could be wrong. It could be an orange-haired Luke. I think it's unlikely, though, because most orange-haired Lukes are not that dark. That's just too dark of an orange color. Really cool to look at. Really cool to look at. But I think that the final sales price of almost 800 British pounds, or about 1,052 US dollars, 9 bids, plus shipping. And I think that it's mainly because of this figure. This is the figure that people were really bidding on, in my estimation. So, you know, I think if it was truly an orange-haired Luke, that you can easily double this sales price, even if it was, a fairly low-grade orange-haired Luke. But this is really just a degraded brown hair. But this dark-haired Luke is very, very expensive. I've got one of these in my collection, and you know, it's really nice. So anyway, just wanted to give you a heads up there on that one. I thought it was worth talking about. Going back to CIB now, they had this one. This is one I've got in my collection. This is the olive-haired dark pants no COO. These also appeared on Palatoys as well as on Palatoy Trilogos, to my knowledge. Really nice olive-haired Luke. AFA 85, that sold for $1,007. $1,007. I've got the exact same figure, exact same grade, and I paid in the neighborhood. I bought this many, many years ago, but I paid still quite a bit of money for it at the time. I think around $600. So $1,000 is now what they're going for, and I think that's a pretty good deal, honestly. That's a pretty desirable figure. Now we're going to get into a couple of big boy items. This was a beautiful one that I really wanted to bid on, but I did not. I held back, believe it or not. This is the Brazilian Glasslight, or Glasslight. I don't know how to pronounce it. Made in 1988 for the Brazilian market. Very unique figures. This one has got a really thick tip saber, Vader, and very desirable, these Brazilian figures. $760 was the sales price on this one. AFA 80 plus for the Brazilian Glasslight. We'll get a close up here for you guys to take a look at it. Don't quote me on this because I didn't do any research beforehand, but I'm going completely on memory. The figures are kind of known to have like a lot of this excess trim work around the seams of the figure. I believe they're also smaller, if memory serves. They're also a lot smaller, but really, really desirable figure. And that sales price doesn't surprise me at all. I've seen them sell for that loose and ungraded. I think whoever got that one for $760, that was a deal. That was a deal. I've seen that sell for $700 to $750 all day long, ungraded. So a great deal, whoever got that one. The Leia, on the other hand, sold for big money. This one was very, very expensive. The Leia, this was graded AFA 70. I did not expect it to go this high. I expected it to go kind of in the $800 to $900 range. But what's unique about the Leia is that it comes with the Jawa blaster inside the card back. It's a unique Brazilian market only accessory. It's very desirable. But anyway, that one sold for $1,138. 1138. That's a big number. Big number. Very, very rare, though. It's tough to find this one. I don't see this one pop up for sale that much anymore. It used to, it's weird. It goes in waves, right? This one I saw pop up like 3 or 4 times in the Echo Base Vintage Variants group on Facebook, ungraded. Like 3 or 4 times in like 6-month period. And then I hadn't seen any since. And it's been at least a year now. So I can see why it's probably just some pent-up demand. People have been wanting that one for their collection, even though it's only an AFA 70. But wow, what an awesome figure! So that's that one. And then the CIB also had this one, just the standard Hong Kong AFA 85. That one sold for $427. Black hair and belt Leia. Beautiful example of the Leia, brand new case style. Woo! That one was hot. $427 is a good deal. That's a good deal these days on an AFA 85 Leia. I was expecting 500 to 550 minimum. So $427 for that was a good buy right there. This is the other one I really wanted to bid on. This was the Glass Lead or Brazilian Han Solo AFA 80. He too comes with the Jawa blaster. And you can see it's got a little bit of discoloration going on the neck there. It's probably just the way these are. But, you know, it's very similar. But you can see what I was talking about with like the seams. It's just something I've noticed with all these glass leads is that they have a lot of trim or excess trim during the manufacturing process around the seams for the actual figure mold. It's just something I've noticed on a lot of glass lights. Here's the label on it, AFA 80. Beautiful, beautiful figure. It's a no COO. $873 took that one home. So the Leia was the most expensive. Han was between the Leia and the Vader, and then the Vader on the end. So I think $873, I would have paid that all day long for an AFA 80 glass lead Han Solo. Here was another Han Solo that sold. This was a bagged figure. This is a SWD Baggie. UKG graded 85%. The figure was 85. Paint was 90%. Best offer accepted for $450. I didn't bother looking it up. I forgot to do that. But I actually really like... Some people don't like the way UKG encases baggies. To me, I prefer it because I think it really... I'll do a close-up here. Let's see. I just like the way it looks. It presents it perfectly, and it's got these kind of cool pegs that hold it in place. It's a bigger piece. It's more of a nicer presentation, in my opinion, than what Collector Archive Services or AFA do. Collector Archive Services does a nice job, too. They have like an inner well that holds it. AFA does the worst, in my opinion, for baggies. But in my opinion, UKG does it right. I mean, they just do an awesome job. I've got a few UKG graded baggies, and I just love the way they present. So that one sold for $450, best offer accepted. And then he also had this one. You can see this is an older style case for AFA, but this was a Baggie Obi-Wan Kenobi AFA 85 white hair. Wow, what a nice one. Really nice one. That one was listed for $550 and it sold. So good deal there. And here was an ungraded Baggie. This was a Hammerhead General Mills Baggie. This is, if I had to guess, I don't know for sure, but I think this is like the Star Wars SWC Baggie. I didn't confirm that on the... There's a couple of good websites for it. But you can see a hole right here. This is oftentimes factory applied holes for so air doesn't suck in there. You know, it doesn't fill up inside the baggies. It just makes it easier for shipping larger lots of these. But some of them, they're not supposed to have those punch holes. I am not an expert on that. There's a few experts on Facebook, like Mike Stafford, a few others that would know everything about them. But anyway, really nice one. That one sold for $175 plus shipping. Here was a really cool one. I love the way CAS does these, but this is a 20, let's see, we had a displayed with car back. I guess that's a 21 back. Boba Fett, CAS 75 grade, 2-line Hong Kong figure. And then you can see the accessory there on the side. I mean, it's almost like a dark black. It looks like a black blaster to me. That's crazy. It's probably just the photo lighting. But anyway, that one sold for $456. I think that's a pretty good deal. I mean, we've seen just the card back alone for Boba Fett, especially those 21 back card backs. I mean, they can go for $150 to $250 pretty easily. So to get that one already graded and nicely displayed like that, I mean, that's a nice display. For $456 is a good deal, in my opinion. Here was an ungraded Taiwan Boba Fett. We all know what Taiwan Fetts are doing. And it looks, I can't tell, that doesn't look like the V5 blaster. We'll look at the commentary and say, I guess it does there. It looks darker there. The first photo didn't. It says 100% complete, so who knows if that's the correct blaster. It looks too bluish for me. You know, these Taiwan Fets are supposed to come with, you know, you can see it's got the Taiwan stamp on the back, on the back of the leg there, but that blaster looks awfully bluish. But somebody else would know immediately whether that's the correct blaster or not. It doesn't look like it to me. But anyway, that was sold for $310. $310. It was a nice clean example though of the Boba Fett. And that's a beautiful Taiwan Fett. But yeah, there's no way that's the V5 blaster. That looks way too blue. Way too blue. But still, a really nice figure. That'd probably grade out, you know, 85, 80 plus, somewhere in that ballpark. 85. Got to be an 85. Too pretty. There's a little bit of scuffing there by the Taiwan COO on the back of the calf there. So that might hold it back a little bit. But that paint looks pretty immaculate. Pretty immaculate on that Fett. So whether that blaster is correct or not, it's probably the right value for that figure. It only had one bid. So, you know, again, it could be someone who just didn't know that blaster is not correct. Here was another one from CIB. This was a loose AFA 85 dark green chest Hong Kong, the most standard Hong Kong Fett there is, but it's still sold for $510, 22 bids. So the light green chest is maybe a little bit less plentiful, but the dark green is kind of really the standard Fett. It's got that lipstick helmet visor that you see on a lot of these dark green Hong Kongs. Beautiful figure though. $510. Just keep going up. Here was a loose minty. I hate that word. Hate it. Hate the word minty. But that's what's titled right here. Minty. Don't use that word, please. Oh, hate that word. Here was a beautiful wicket though. So $50. 100% complete. Looked nice. Really nice paint job. You usually see the most wear on that whitish part of the fur, the whitish paint apps, and then on the eyes and nose. But that was a nice clean example. $50 took that one home. Good deal. Here was another Ewok. This was loose graded by UKG, the low gray along with the glider. I've got one of these in my collection. This was 80% for the low gray, Hong Kong, and then 85% for the glider. Nice presentation, though. That one sold for $200 roughly, or 150 British pounds. Going back, I'm skipping all around. CIB also sold this one. I almost bid on this one because this is the last kind of major variant I need for Leia Bausch. This is the Taiwan. It was graded 80 plus. Nice example there. That's a figure that keeps going up. It's been going up a lot here lately, but that one sold for $150. I thought that was a pretty good deal. This is another example I've told you about with a good strategy is to, when CIB, I mean, they had like glass leap Brazilian figures. They had an olive haired Luke. They had all kinds of hot stuff going. And then they had this 80 plus, you know, Taiwan Leia Bausch. This probably would have been a good opportunity to buy it because everyone else was focused on the big boys, on the really hot, rare items. So someone snuck in there and got that for $150, and that's a pretty good price for an 80 plus Taiwan Leia Bausch. I probably should have bid on that, but I didn't. And then Barada was another one that he had, AFA 85. That one sold for $250. That's a good price. Very fair price for a AFA 85 last 17 Barada figure. That's a good deal there. Finally, we had this one. This was an ungraded last 17 Yak face. No repro. It's got the staff there. The Yak had a little bit of wear around the hands, as you can see right there. But overall, pretty good shape. Pretty good shape. A lot of wear around the feet. Probably an AFA 75 plus would be my guess on the grade. Might eke out an 80, but I doubt it. Probably a 75 plus. That one still sold for $560 though. $560. So big number there. Those last 17 figures, they are just continuing to command big dollars. That's all I really had for this video. Reminder, channel giveaway. So if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, and make sure you comment below, and you will be automatically entered to win this awesome Dulok Shaman coin. Thanks so much. I'll be back soon.